This photo here is a photo of what this panel that's next to me, and we'll show you in a second, looks like, or it used to look like when it was first built. It's been attacked by vandals, but recently it was attacked by 3 young primary school aged children. My mum saw them on the CCTV footage. You had to sit and watch for 6 hours to finally find them. And there were 3 young children, probably from the local area, Caucasian. The police probably can find out who they are through the primary schools. And certainly the footage has been taken to the police. Because the parents came for a picnic and the children snuck off from their parents while their parents weren't looking. They didn't go direct to the water feature, which is in the centre of the Lightning Ridge Community Gardens, built by many community people. They snuck around through the trees and they approached the back of the water feature, and in 5 minutes they did this. Have a look. This is primary school aged children. They've knocked off all the tiles and everything that was here. Compare that to this. It'd break your heart if you worked on this. My mum was one of the many ladies who created it. My dad put it all together with his equipment. So we're going to look at some of these panels. One of the girls was inspired to get a stick, and once they got one rock off, she just scraped with a stick. The other kids, little, all their family, just there for a picnic. Keep going, Alana. Let's have a look at the next one. I've taken off all the sky. Took 9 months, 8 people 9 months to build this work of art, and took 3 children 5 minutes to destroy it. I don't even know what this one was meant to be. I'll have to get one of the pictures out, printed out to work it out. Why did they do it? Well, personally I think it's the way they're raised. That's part of it. It's their friends at school maybe who've had a go at prizing bits off and boasted to them that they've gotten bits off the water feature, and so these kids were determined to come in and destroy it. Or at least one of the 3 set the other 2 on to doing it. What would we say to these parents? Personally, I think you're responsible for this. You need to educate your children better. Everyone needs to make sure their children have respect for community property, for projects that are works of art, for anything. Do you want to have to pay for the cost of this? Do you want to have to pay for my time as an accountant to find the tiles, Lana? Just trying to find blue tiles. Took 4 hours on the day before I was leaving. It meant I had to work until 2 a.m. for my clients, and I couldn't even finish all the work that I had to do. And that means I set off driving tired, which is not great. And the amount of time that it's going to take to rebuild this. I knew I couldn't do my parents' tax returns while I was up here this year because I want to help my mum, along with my family. We're all going to pitch in and try and help rebuild this while we're here this holiday, instead of doing all the touristy things that we could do in Lightning Ridge. What would my mum say to you? My mum says, your children should be punished some way. That's up to you parents as to how they're punished, because these are primary school age children. I personally think you parents are responsible, and you have to do some community service to make up for it. I think that's how you should be treated. But personally, I just think everyone could make life easier for everyone if you just volunteer. And this is what I want to get on about, is I'd like to help encourage you to be a volunteer in the community. Set an example for your children. Help other people occasionally. Help them respect other people and public property, because you care about community projects. Show them. Just volunteer with Rotary, Apex. The group Mum's with is Seroptimus. It's a ladies group rather than the men's groups, which are Apex. David, my husband, was always a member of Apex. Or you can do it through the councils. There's so many volunteer projects, like what we saw today at Lightning Ridge, actually, and it was yesterday too. The CFA were helping, everyone helps, run a festival here. But less and less people are volunteering nowadays, and it becomes a burden and things disappear. Festivals will disappear because you're not raising your kids to be volunteers. You're spending too much time raising money to cover your mortgage. You're not thinking, can I do 2 hours twice a year? All I've got to do is put my name down on a list with the Apex group. I don't have to go to their meetings. I just have to be on a list so they can call me in when they've got a big project and they need extra help. And that would make an enormous difference. My mum had to stop playing bowls on last night because she went to the doctors. She had injections in her feet to stop the pain, but the next day she had to go down to the community gardens and she had to do too much by herself. She had men who were there forced to do community service because that's, well, you know, sometimes people do things wrong and the judge says you should do community service, but out of the 6 that were meant to be there, only 4 turned up. She was short, so she put in a whole day on the day after she had these injections, and she didn't allow them time to work. So she's in pain. She's 75 years old and she could barely stand. She had to stop playing bowls, something that she loves doing. And my dad can't do it either now. He's on a walking frame because his back has got a pinched nerve in it. And sometimes that comes good, but not much at the moment. So the old people who've been volunteering for so long need your help, just a little. And look, if you're disabled or even old and you're in a wheelchair, you can do some wonderful things. There's a man who's going to come and check out these water feature panels every day because he likes walking his dog. And he was pleased when Mum approached him and said, "Will you help me? Will you just check on these?" And he turned to his dog and said, "Hey, Joe," I can't remember the dog's name, I'm sorry, but let's say it's Joe, "we've got a job to do now." And he was just happy to be needed, to be wanted. And there's lots of other people who'll just say, "Oh, I've got free time today," and they've helped my mum and she is so grateful. They've just weeded for 2 hours in the community gardens. It's brilliant community gardens. Got a bush tucker area with all signage for what plants in the bush actually can feed your family. Well, sort of a little. And yeah, so look, there's so many things. I'd just like to see you help a little bit more. For instance, our church, it's a wonderful church, Diamond Valley Baptist. We have run in the past what's called a family fun day, and for $6 a whole family got to bring their kids and go through an animal farm, bouncy castle, crafts galore. They could spend a whole day and have a wonderful time there. And when I ran it, I coordinated 38 volunteers, and I'd make sure that they all worked for just 2 hours out of the 4 hours that we needed them for. And so everyone got to enjoy the whole project. But now we had to cancel our fete this year because all we could get was 15 volunteers. 15 for sure volunteers. So it didn't run. And things like the rodeo here in Lightning Ridge, they don't get the helpers just selling tickets for 2 hours out of the 4 hours. Yet they won't run. They need your help. And you can't expect the main volunteers who organise everything to do everything for you. So set a good example for your kids. Don't end up with kids who do this. End up with kids who care about others. And look, there's one more thing. If you care about Australia, will you please watch my DVD on superannuation and changes to tax laws that I'd recommend. I'd like you to get on to the back... No, that's wrong. I'd like you to... You'll see. Just watch my superannuation and taxation changes DVD, because I've got an idea in mind that might allow many children to, when they reach the age of 21, have a $50,000 deposit for a house. Would you like that for your kids? Well, at the moment, it's less likely to happen than if we make this little change that I'm going to propose in that DVD. Thank you.